mightiest of machines. Tranzor Z. Might to fight for right. He's a protector of peace so powerful he cannot be destroyed. Tranzor Z.
So you guys see the shirt that I have on. This is Mazinger Z, the Japanese version. But Mazinger Z ended up being syndicated by a company called 3B Productions to come to the States, and they renamed the character Tranzor Z. This character came to the States in 1985. I believe I became introduced to the character in like 87. I can remember coming home from school about 3 o'clock, turning on to channel 66, yes, on the floor model TV, because you know that's how it was back in the 80s. The good years as compared to these spoiled brat kids who have everything coddled to them and everything at their fingertips. You know, they could watch TV on their phones and things like that, whereas we had floor model TVs. There was no such thing as texting. There was no such thing as not playing outside or doing those type of things. You know, we had to socialize with people, unlike these kids of today. But anyway, I just went off on a little tangent because Tranzor Z is bringing back memories of my early childhood in the 80s, where the years were great. But like I was saying, I remember having that floor model TV when you had your bottom knob that was for all like the main channels: CBS, ABC, NBC, Channel 2, Channel 5, Channel 7. And to get to those channels with the larger numbers, you had to turn that top knob, which is known as the UHF. And that's kind of what Tranzor Z was relegated to, going to the bigger channels. Because, you know, in the States you had Transformers, you had GoBots, you had Voltron. All those robots trumped anything that Tranzor brought to the US audience. He was already, you know, second fiddle once they syndicated it and brought it over to the States. But, you know, most of you guys know me. I'm big into the robots. When I was a kid, it was all about Transformers. But today we're not going to, talk about Transformers. We're going to talk about Tranzor Z. And like I said, he was my guy. I loved him. I remember having the 2-foot toy. It was Mazinger Z, but and I think it came from over in Japan. It's like 2 feet tall, and it could shoot the rocket fists and all that. It had its powers. It was awesome. And I had that toy. So it was Mazinger Z, but over here was Tranzor Z, as I said. But I had that, and like I said, I can remember coming home, turning that TV station, channel 66, and if you're from the Chicago area like me, you know exactly what channel 66 is. You have memories of the cartoons. I said Tranzor Z was on there, but you also have memories, if you was like me, was a goofball, you loved Samurai Sunday. Samurai Sunday is when they showed all those kung fu movies where the guy's there talking and the words just not fitting, and they doing all these miraculous karate moves and battling with each other. That was good TV back in the day. But Tranzor Z was basically relegated to that because it was the least popular robot show during the 80s. But I know it's some loyal fans out there that, besides me, who like Tranzor. And I'm just gonna say, if you willing to give it a chance, just go to YouTube and type up Tranzor Z. They have some of the episodes on there. I mean, I have some episodes on DVD. And I also have, a couple of figures, Like I said, it's a phrase that I use, never let go of your childhood. Because I'm not. I'm 46 years old. But as you can see back here, I got toys. I restarted my Transformer collection. I'm never going to let that go. I got old game systems. I got the NES. I got the Sega Genesis. I got PS2, 3, 4. I got Xbox 360, Xbox Series 1. I got the old Dreamcast. I'm not letting that stuff go. My kids enjoy that type of stuff. Every once in a while, I'll pull, one of the old systems out, and me and my family, my wife and my kids, we have a game night, and, my kids, they love, the stuff that we had. That's why I always make fun of them, like, hey man, we had better cartoons than you guys, we had better games than you guys. Only difference now is your games look more real, but to us in the 90s, 80s, and 90s, those games look fly as hell, but now you go back and play them, it's like crap, I was just playing Tecmo Bowl the other day, and it looked like crap, man, but that's still one of the best football games ever, in my opinion. But, yeah, Tranzor Z, man, good show. I'm gonna show you guys a couple of figures that my daughter and my wife, they went up to Japan when my daughter graduated from high school, and they actually brought me back a couple of figures, but the figure I wanted, they really couldn't afford to get, and I appreciate them just for getting me this figure. But it was one that's made of die-cast steel. It runs like $300, but I want to say it's about 1.5 feet tall. It's die-cast steel, die-cast metal. You can see the interior of it. It shows how the robot was built. And it's an awesome toy, and I wish I could have got it, but I'll get it one day. So I'm just gonna introduce you to this little guy. This is who they brought me back from Japan. It's awesome. Take a look at that. That's my guy Tranzor. So, as I said, I'm gonna collect. I'm not gonna let go of my childhood. And on my show, I'm gonna be talking about things like this. I'm gonna be talking about classic movies, horror movies, just all the things that I like, and get you guys' opinion, get you guys ideas on topics, and see if you like the same thing, and we can discuss it. You can leave me some comments, and then I could bring that up in the next podcast. But yeah, I'm gonna be talking about horror movies, I'm gonna be talking about movie series, I'm gonna be talking about, like I said, retro stuff, sports, of course. I'm never gonna leave out sports. I'm gonna always talk about sports because that's like my #1 love. But I just wanted to represent for y'all, show y'all Tranzor Z, man. Mazinger Z over in Japan, but Tranzor Z here. And it was other characters that was a part of the show. The main one was Tranzor Z and Tommy Davis. Tommy Davis was the American version of the pilot who actually controlled Tranzor Z. You see this little ship right here? That was the ship that Tommy flew that went into Tranzor's head, and then he would take control of it. So over in Japan, Tommy Davis, his name was Koji. And then you had other robots that helped out Tranzor, basically helped him to save the day. You had this one robot called Aphrodite A, and it's a female version of a robot. And you guys are not gonna believe it, but the robot over in Japan actually shot missiles from her breasts. She had breast missiles. They would shoot from her breast. And over here, I can remember being young. They showed it a few times on American television, but then they toned it down. It got to the point where they would show the lady that controls Aphrodite A, they would show her push the button, and then they would just show the missile go to its target. They would show it actually shooting projectiles from the breast. But yeah, that's kind of crazy, man. For kids, for it to be a kid's cartoon and them showing rocket-propelled missiles coming from breasts, but they did. And so another character was called Bobobot. He was a screw-up type of character. He was a good guy, and he always screwed things up, to the point where he would almost mess up the day for the good guys. And then he would have his times where he would come through and do something positive. As far as the enemies that were on Tranzor Z, you had Dr. Demon, who was known as Dr. Hell over in Japan. And then you had Devlin, who was his evil sidekick. So basically they just created all kinds of robot monsters and things like that that would go and try to destroy the city and, take down Tommy and Tranzor and other robots. And Devlin, she was like a weird character who used to creep me out when I was a kid because she used to always have this sadistic, like irritating laugh, whenever she would do something good, to screw up things for the good guys. And then the thing that tripped me out about, she had her face. She had like two sides of her face. She had one head, but it's like literally a line going straight down the middle of her face. And I'm gonna put a picture on here and you will see what I'm talking about. And she had two different faces. So it was kind of weird. But all in all, like I said, man, Tranzor Z would never be on the level of Transformers, Voltron, GoBots, those type of powerful robots. But it'll always have a place in my heart, and I'm pretty sure it'll have a place in some of the other fans' heart. I mean, a lot of the people in Japan, they look at Tranzor as basically a knockoff, which I understand because Mazinger Z was created there, and it was basically syndicated here, and they changed the title of the main character and then changed the names of the other characters. So that was my big figure, and then this is my little tiny figure, the guy. You have his jetpack on, very famous robot over in Japan. Not so here in the States, but I'm a ride with him.
Mortal men, the mightiest of machines. Tranzor Z. Might to fight for right. He's a protector of peace so powerful he cannot be destroyed. Tranzor